Lewis Hamilton has just put Ferrari on top in Hungary. Charles Leclerc is only 0.148 seconds behind, and the nearest non-Ferrari car is already around half a second away. That looks like total control. But behind Ferrari's commanding 1-2 is a broken car, an interrupted session, and one hidden question that could turn this perfect Friday into either a genuine breakthrough or a brutal collapse. Because the timing screen says Ferrari is fastest. The data may be saying something even bigger. Subscribe to the channel. Ferrari's result was not built around one extraordinary lap from one driver. That is what makes it so important. Before Hamilton moved to the top in the second practice session, Charles Leclerc had already sent the first warning to Ferrari's rivals. He led the opening session with a lap of 1 minute, 19.075 seconds, almost half a second ahead of Max Verstappen. Hamilton finished third in that session, just over half a second behind his teammate. Then the balance changed. In the second practice session, Hamilton found another level. His fastest lap, 1 minute, 18.729 seconds, placed him at the top. Leclerc followed only 0.148 seconds behind. The nearest driver outside Ferrari was Lando Norris. He was already around half a second away. That is not a normal Friday margin. Around a circuit like the Hungaroring, where the lap is short and the corners arrive quickly, half a second can separate a close fight from apparent control. And Ferrari had both cars at the front. One Ferrari leading can be explained by an exceptional lap. Two Ferraris leading is much harder to ignore. It suggests the car itself has found something. That is the first reason this result feels different. Leclerc was fastest in the opening session. Hamilton was fastest in the second. Two drivers, two separate moments, and the same team at the top. For Ferrari, that is exactly the kind of evidence it needed. The team arrived in Hungary after encouraging signs at Silverstone and Spa. Frederic Vasseur had already said Ferrari was coming into the weekend with confidence, even though he refused to promise that the circuit would automatically deliver a strong result. He believed the Hungaroring might suit the car slightly better. And now, the early numbers appear to support that belief. The circuit contains many slower corners. The driver must turn the car, control the rear, apply the power, and immediately prepare for the next direction change. There is very little time to recover from a mistake. Imagine carrying a full cup through a crowded room. One unstable step does not only affect that moment, it changes your balance for everything that follows. The same thing happens here. If the rear of the car moves unexpectedly in one corner, the driver may lose confidence in the next. He waits before pressing the accelerator. The tires slide. The car loses momentum. One tiny delay becomes another. By the end of the lap, those small losses can become several tenths of a second. Ferrari's recent work on the rear suspension was expected to help in exactly this area. The goal was not simply to make the car faster on one straight. It was to give the rear of the car a more useful, more predictable platform through slower corners. That allows the driver to commit earlier. It allows him to apply the power sooner. And it helps the car carry speed from one section into the next. At the Hungaroring, that advantage can grow very quickly. This is why Hamilton's fastest lap may be more meaningful than the position alone. Ferrari has admitted that it does not expect a major short-term improvement in pure power unit performance over one qualifying lap compared with Mercedes. So Ferrari cannot depend on engine power to rescue the stopwatch. It must create the difference through the corners. And on Friday, that appears to be exactly what happened. The car looked comfortable in the part of the circuit where balance matters most. Leclerc found speed immediately. Hamilton then found even more. That creates a powerful possibility. Ferrari may not simply have produced a good Friday. The team may finally be learning how to use the development package introduced over recent races. Vasseur had described the process as fine adjustment. That phrase matters. Ferrari was not expecting one new component to transform the entire car instantly. The engineers needed to understand how the rear suspension worked with the brakes, the ride height, and the aerodynamic balance. Every area affects another. It is like adjusting four legs on an uneven table. Fix one side too much, and another side begins to move. Ferrari has been trying to make the complete car work together. And this 1-2 may be the clearest sign, yet that those pieces are beginning to connect. But the timing screen does not reveal everything. Practice sessions can create confidence before the real picture is complete. Teams use different fuel levels. Drivers follow different testing plans. Some focus on a single fast lap. Others spend more time preparing for the race. And in the second session, a red flag interrupted the running after Franco Colapinto crashed. That interruption affected several Ferrari rivals, including drivers from McLaren and Mercedes. Some of them lost important track time. Some may not have completed their strongest laps. So Ferrari's advantage was real, but the size of that advantage remains uncertain. Hamilton still had to produce the lap. Leclerc still had to follow closely. Ferrari still had to execute better than everyone around it. But the half-second gap to Norris may not tell the complete story. That is where the pressure begins. Outside the garage, people see domination. Inside the garage, Ferrari sees unfinished comparisons. The engineers must now ask whether the car was truly faster or whether the session created the perfect circumstances for Ferrari to show more of its performance than its rivals. And there is one more detail that prevents this from becoming a simple celebration. Leclerc's opening practice session ended early after he reported that something had broken on the car. The precise component was not identified. That means no one can honestly say how serious it was or whether it had any connection to the recent developments. It may have been a minor issue. It may have been isolated, but Ferrari cannot ignore it because the fastest car is useless if it cannot finish. That single warning changes the meaning of the entire result. Did the car improve as the fuel burned away or become more difficult? Those answers matter because qualifying and the race demand different things. Qualifying rewards maximum attack. The race rewards control. For one lap, a driver can tolerate a nervous rear. He can use fresh tires. He can accept a small slide. He can push through discomfort because the lap ends quickly. Over a full race distance, that same behavior becomes expensive. Every slide creates heat. Every correction adds stress to the tires. Every moment of wheel spin removes grip that may be needed later. A car that looks brilliant over one lap can slowly damage its own race. That is why Ferrari's longer run pace matters. The source material describes the team's race pace as encouraging and consistent. That is another positive sign, but it is still only practice. The race will include traffic. The car will carry more fuel. The tires will age. The drivers may need to extend a stint, and the balance will change as the car becomes lighter. Ferrari must prepare for all of that without losing the speed already discovered. This is the second major challenge. The team may have found a qualifying car. Now it must prove it has a race car. And Leclerc's mechanical issue makes that question even more urgent. He reported that something had broken in the opening session. The exact part was not specified, so the cause cannot be connected to the suspension, the aerodynamic package, or any other area without evidence. But Ferrari still has to investigate the failure completely, because reliability problems create pressure even when they appear only once. If the issue is simple, Ferrari can replace the component and move on. If it is more complicated, the team may need to make protective changes. That could mean altering the setup. That could mean avoiding certain curbs. That could mean reducing the stress placed on part of the car. And every protective choice can cost performance. This is where speed and reliability begin pulling Ferrari in opposite directions. The drivers want to attack. The engineers want to understand the limits. The mechanics want to protect the car. The team wants to preserve the 1-2. All of those goals are connected. They do not always lead to the same decision. More cornering speed creates more load. More aggressive curb use creates more impact. A lower ride height may improve aerodynamic performance, but it can also make the car more sensitive over bumps. Again, the source does not confirm that any of these factors cause Leclerc's problem. But Ferrari must consider every possibility before the next session. That is why the atmosphere inside the garage may be more tense than the result suggests. Outside, the story is simple. Hamilton first, Leclerc second, Ferrari in command. Inside, the story is much more complicated. The engineers are protecting a narrow setup window. The mechanics are investigating a failure. The strategists are estimating the true pace of rivals whose sessions were interrupted. Hamilton and Leclerc are each searching for the small advantage that could decide qualifying. And Vasseur must keep the entire team calm. That final point matters. Vasseur had already warned that the Hungaroring's characteristics would not guarantee success. He emphasized discipline, concentration, and attention to detail. Now those words are being tested. Ferrari cannot allow the Friday result to create overconfidence. It cannot assume McLaren is truly half a second behind. It cannot assume Mercedes has shown its full pace. It cannot assume Verstappen will remain where he finished. And it cannot assume Leclerc's mechanical issue will disappear on its own. The team has to prepare as though the gap does not exist. That may sound overly cautious, is exactly what a serious team must do. Because Friday rewards experimentation. Qualifying punishes mistakes. One poor tire preparation lap can ruin the attempt. One badly timed release into traffic can destroy the final run. One small setup change can move the car outside its best window. And one mechanical problem can remove a driver before the real fight begins. Ferrari has earned the right to feel confident. It has not earned the right to relax. The 1-2 has created an opportunity. Now that opportunity has to survive pressure. And the next question is even more important than the first. Can Ferrari stay ahead when McLaren, Mercedes, and Verstappen finally reveal everything they have?